Hi guys, it's me again. I thought I'd make a video before Nanowrimo begins because I have been sitting here bouncing off my chair. At the moment I'm actually currently on my bed because that's the only place where there's light. And I made a video and I uploaded it and I'm really happy I did. But then over the past couple of hours I have had a really big kind of lesson in life, kind of a confrontation I guess, and an awareness of what my habits and processes are. So basically before Nanowrimo starts I get very excited and I feel all the energy boiling up inside my chest. I get really anxious, I'm excited, I panic, I start fearing things, my mind goes into control, over control, my inner critic starts and it goes away and then comes back again. And I decided something as well. Now this is going to be a really radical approach to Nanowrimo and not one that everyone's going to want to take on board, but I'm just going to talk to you about why I am going to adopt this principle for myself, philosophy or whatever I want to call it, but it made me realize some really strong things about my personality, how I write, and how I view my writing experience as well. Honestly, I struggle a lot with being a perfectionist. If you've watched any of my videos in the previous years, you know I bounce out and burn out those keys in a couple of days. I can write 50,000 words in 5 days. I think the longest time it's taken me is like 13, and I tend to be really a perfectionist in the fact that I can sit down and do that. I'm very hard on myself. I know I can do things and I push myself to the edge. Sometimes it really works out, other times not. And I think it's a really important thing to know that you do acknowledge these things. I acknowledge that I'm a perfectionist at times. And what happens is that I know my process, I know how I write a book, I know how I have written books in the past, and I have finished a few manuscripts, and those ones are sort of short, contained, standalone stories, and the books that I'm writing right now are longer forms, and I often get lost in trying to, I guess, fit into my perceived idea of how long it should take me to write a book or write a story. And so this video is called, as you can read in the header, basically my plans will fail and why I'm okay with that. I'm just going to go out and say that I will fail to complete Camp Nano in the same way, in the same plans that I anticipated to do and make right now, today. That's not depressing enough, is it, right? Okay, so let me just talk a little bit about why I believe that. I've written them down again so I can be a bit more clear with you guys. So, one of the things that came up is that if I don't acknowledge a chance of failing, I deny myself the chance to succeed. Something I don't like to admit is that I fail a lot. I'm human, I make mistakes, I'm imperfect. I like to make goals. Sometimes my goals don't come of anything. Sometimes I don't even start. Something that I've learned over the past probably a couple of months is that it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to start things and not finish them because either they need more thought or need more education, or I need to think about them a little bit more or approach them differently, or just because I've tried it and it just doesn't suit me anymore. Writing a novel can be like that. The sad and sometimes often hard thing is that you do start a story and it doesn't go anywhere, or you do start a story that takes you much longer to write it than you anticipated. But that's okay. You know, camp is a really great place to do that. Just like camp's a really great place to meet new friends, it's a really great place to meet new characters and see whether they'll, join with you or not. The second is, what you created is never what you imagined it would be when you began. I have, like I said, I've completed a couple of manuscripts myself, and I've half completed stuff. I've half completed poems, I've completed things like that. and articles, and they're never what I wanted them to be or thought they would be when I thought them in my head, or even just wrote notes down on a piece of paper. Maybe your process works like that and you can be very meticulous and write everything exactly as you thought it would be in your head, but my process is not, because I do get insights, I do get new ways of looking at things. Sometimes when I start something and leave it for a day, I come back with a fresh perspective. Some days I don't. Sometimes I have to just put that away and start again. And I think that's really important, because that's what life is like. You know, we start out, we're born, our parents have an expectation of us, and we pretty much maybe exactly what they expected us to be, but I strongly doubt that, because we have our own ways and our own lives and our own dreams. And as you probably know, these dreams have changed over time. They can change daily. Our personalities and traits and wants and desires change like daily, hourly sometimes. So it's okay to create something and know that it's not going to be what it was when you imagined it first. Even if you have like 20 pages of outlines, you might find that while you're writing that story that a couple of new characters come in, or you have to change something. It's not going to be what it was when you first anticipated it. No, it's okay. Sorry if I'm breathing really heavily. Okay. Openness to change of path offers perspective and opportunity, whereas rejection of another possibility leaves the status quo of a novel at any time stagnant. Just bear in mind these are just things that I've written down for myself. So, in my experience, the minute I shut down an idea, everything closes off. In my spiritual practice, this has been very prevalent. I practice witchcraft, but I also adopt a lot of different spirituality practices as well, and I'm kind of eclectic. I don't just stick with one sort of spiritual practice or religion or anything like that. I've kind of had to adapt to what fits for me and what feels right for me at any given time. Now, I have been members of certain religions for a certain period of time. Like, for a while ago, I was a practicing, well, I guess not practicing Christian, but I walked the path of a Christian for a while. And yes, it had lots of perspectives and opportunities, but I found that I needed more. I needed something else, and it wasn't what I was looking for. But if I had stayed in that position and not looked out and not explored the avenues I did afterwards, up until now, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I've learnt so much. And another thing is that I realised too, that I realised this the other day, is that when, I'm one of those people that has endless ideas. My mind is constantly in a state of passive fantasy as well sometimes, which means that I worry a lot. I create horrible images in my brain, and part of the reason why I write is to kind of put those horrible fears into writing form so I can release them. But what I started doing is, every time I'd have an idea for a story, a blog post, just a journal page, I'd cut myself off and go, well, you know, isn't there something else important that you need to do right now? Isn't there a direction you're supposed to be going? Didn't you have another goal that you were supposed to be working on? And I kind of cut myself off. So, and in doing so, I stopped reading fiction, because part of me reading fiction and collecting books is I love to collect stories, and I love to keep asking why. Why am I interested in these characters? I started reading fiction and I just got bored after 5 minutes of reading something. Not because the writing was bad, not because the story wasn't intriguing, I just had lost the ability, or the memory of the ability, to keep asking questions and be curious. And I'd say this too, even if you don't finish a novel, be curious. Even if you only get 2 chapters of it done the whole month, be curious still. Be curious about what those 2 chapters offered you. You know, even if you've only got a paragraph, be curious about where that can go and why you wrote that, and what made you so inspired to start in the first place. Writing is a teacher of embracing imperfection and a guide of transformation. Even the things I perceive to be unfinished or in progress are as worthy as those that are complete. There are always ways that I can add depth when there is little, and simplify when there is more. So, writing is my biggest teacher. People are my biggest teacher, but my characters are people. I love my characters and care about my characters as they are people. If I can't see them as people, they don't get anything from me. Even the most evil people, the criminals, they need to be people. I know that they're characters, I'm well aware of that, but I have a whole different perspective on characters that I can go for in another video. But for me personally, I need to embrace that. So embracing writing as a teacher, embracing the characters as teachers. Sometimes they only have a short story. Sometimes they have a much longer story. Something I've learnt when I'm writing my novels and Nano, especially in such a short period of time, is I have written stories and novellas that only last 30 days of writing. And that's okay, because they're stories that they've told me their stories. The characters have shared it, I've written it out. I just need to go through it and edit it a bit, maybe add a bit more. But there's ones like Strange Hunting and my other novels where I know that there's so much depth and there's many different point of perspectives and stories that are interconnecting, that they do need a little bit more. They need more stories. I need to listen to the lessons they're telling me rather than trying to control the story. Now, I know there's another frame of mind where people believe that, which is totally fine, that, you are the author, you are the person writing this, you control this situation. Yes, you do. You control your writing, you choose to get up, you choose to write, you choose not to write. You choose what to do at the end of the day. You choose to fail or succeed at failing. So it's like, it just doesn't matter, whatever your perspective is. But just embrace imperfection. Embrace it. It's beautiful. Chicken scrawling on a paper for 10 days, 30 days, where you might just fill up a notebook, or you might just fill up half a notebook of a story, is perfect. And it's imperfect. Yeah. Work that one out. But it is. So, and I think that's the thing, like, writing is not, for me, the end-all and be-all. I write so I don't have to follow rules like that. I write so I don't have to be so stringent about something. I mean, if I'm going to go through the editing process, that is a process in itself. The writing process is so unique each time I even write a chapter that there is no reason for me to worry so much about filling the space in, or writing too much or writing too little. Just writing is beautiful. And my other point is, and it's my last point, because I think I've babbled on for 12 minutes, is, sorry guys, that each individual day will be different. It will teach me new lessons and bring up fears and triumphs to be accepted and embraced. I'm mostly a daily journaler, and my story with journaling is I used to journal every day, even when I didn't feel like I wanted to, because I thought that I had to. I thought that my writing had to be a certain way, that I had to hit a certain goal, that I had to do something to a certain degree, in a certain way, pretty much. When I started writing Strange Hunting more so than anything else, it really opened my eyes to different ways of writing and how every day is different. I've started days where I've drawn inspiration from my dreams. I've started days where I've had to use prompts, which I'll do another video on, prompt cards or prompts that I've made up myself. I've started days where I have just sat down at the computer and just beat out like 5,000 words. And other days where I struggle to just write some dot points, really. I have had days where I talk to my characters through guided meditation or yoga, and I've had days where I don't connect with them at all. I don't know why I'm writing the story, I'm stuck, and I just need a break, because I need that break to take time off. And all this stuff brings up fears, like all this, it's part of the process, it's part of the writing process, it's part of the life process, like I keep saying, but it keeps bringing up all these fears, like, will I ever write a manuscript? Will I ever finish it? Will I be a successful author? Will I be a successful person? What will I feel when I fail? am I okay with that? Am I okay with being imperfect? Am I okay with just even starting something? Because I think starting is like one of the most prominent and powerful things we can do for ourselves, especially when we are starting to work on our dream. Like, I participate in Nanowrimo pretty much every year, probably at least twice a year since 2007. And the interesting thing is that every time I start, it's much like, you hear the writers say, like lots of writers say in different ways, that they're just as scared when they start their second novel as they were when they started their first. So I think every time I approach a new novel, it's like this whole new experience. So, of course I have fears. I have fears of my success. I have fears of past failure. So I kind of have both on both sides. But if I can bring that awareness and let go of my past failure and successes and what I think it's going to be, and accept what it is, accept that today I wrote 2,000 words and all I want to do right now after that is read and eat some cookies, or accept that I'm going to spend the whole day writing and might bash out 10k. It's okay. And that's okay. It's a lesson. And I think one thing I want to offer you guys is that when you are starting this process, or if you're continuing this process, or if you're writing a new book or whatever, really take time to notice what things you're learning. I know it's really difficult sometimes to notice what you're learning, why you're doing it, but if you can just bring a little bit of awareness into it, go, oh, I learned this today, or I learned a different way to approach my character, or this kind of writing a scene in one document worked for me today, but this day I'm going to have to write it in several documents because there's so much going on in my head, if that makes sense. So, accept and embrace exactly where you are at this point in time, and I think the experience is much more enjoyable. I'm accepting that right now I'm making a video. I'm making it because I started to get paranoid and excited and anxious, and I started thinking that I might not even finish this book before I even started it. Now that I've made this video, I still may feel the same a little bit, and that's okay too. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be happy and anticipate what this is going to bring. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it offered you some kind of assistance or support, and you weren't turned off by the title and so scared that you ran away, because I know if I saw a video like this on YouTube, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna click away because I'm scared about failing. We all fail, guys. I just want you to know that we all fail. But do we actually fail? That's the question. That's the question for another video. Well, I'm going to be eating soon and getting started. And this is what I'm going to be doing too. In a couple of minutes time, I'm just going to start writing. I'm going to break the rules. Maybe those won't be added to my word count, but I need to get into it. I don't want to wait until 12 o'clock to write a novel. You know what I mean, guys? It's supposed to be there as a guidepost, but I feel this thing where I can't write until it's 12 o'clock. I don't know if you guys feel that too. It is the rules. You must not break the rules, but writing is about breaking the rules. And damn, I'm going to break some rules.